Dive into the content that you find on Sales Remastered, because it'll go deeper into that topic of like, okay, well, now that I go over this objection, now what do I do? There's content that's going to show you from first call to second call. I did a week where it's just full objections, and it was called Objection Week. And then I did another one, it was called Outbound Week, where every single day was certain technique that you could use to create outbound sales. And I think that was probably the most valuable one, because right now, a lot of us are waiting for leads to be delivered, and we are unknowingly positioning ourselves to go into a negotiation battle, meaning that with the leads that come in, let's say if it was an internet lead, this person did an online inquiry. Number one, they didn't know that they were gonna get called by 9 of us. And so us and everyone we're competing with is calling them, and it's like sharks smell blood in the water. What happens is when the typical loan officer gets into that engagement, they get kind of disgruntled, right? Like they're kind of demotivated because they're like, oh man, this guy's gonna price shop me. You know, like, man, this guy's a grinder. I don't know if I'd be able to sell this guy. And you're gonna notice that as you get more seasoned in this industry and more seasoned at your role, a lot of the roadblocks that you put up in front of you, you can take down. A lot of the roadblocks that you put in front of you are based on an illusion because you see your compadres do it, right? You see your whole team start declining out like, oh man, this dude's failing. All he does is complain about this one lead source. And you might very well take that as recommendation, like, okay, well, yeah, fuck that, I'm gonna avoid that lead source too. But why? So each of us have different skill sets. There's some of us who are more effective at internet inquiries, and then there's some of us who suck at internet inquiries. I took that in consideration when I heard this statistic of how many sales decline and what the whole purpose of why sales is being passed up on. And then I noticed like, okay, well, that's probably because those who are good at this specific lead type are making noise that is relevant to that specific lead type. So they just know how to handle their kind of wavelength as that particular lead type. And so if they engage with someone else who's on a different frequency, a different sound, right? Instead of the person who's doing an internet inquiry, it's Mildred, who's responding back to a mailer, and she lives in Idaho, you know, it's a rural area, and she's more engaging, right? Because she's a little bit older. But we can't approach her as the same way as that we would approach an internet inquiry. Internet inquiry is like chess. You don't want to give too much information because now you're showing your cards. You want to be able to find out where they're at and then explain to them that you are a direct plug to where they're going anyway, right? So if they hire the bank across the street or they hire the broker across town, ultimately we all go to the same location.
Connected to Sales Remastered.